Hello guys, what's going on? So today I'm going to be showing you how to set up a Discord server from scratch, sort of specific settings or how I would set it up if I was going from scratch. I think that Discord obviously has a lot of users and potentially new users coming to Discord, and not everyone might be fully acquainted in how to actually set up a Discord server because of obviously how complex it can be. So once you've got your server set up, there's a few things I would personally go into first. Obviously just click your server, click server settings. You've got your name straight away if you want to change it, your icon, banner sort of stuff. You don't really need to change these if you don't want to, they're just there. Next down here you've got traits, which are kind of like tags, basically just for when somebody sees your server they can have a feel as to what it's about. So for example, you can write gaming, and as you see it appears there as a bubble. You can write up to 5 and put emojis in here. Again, not needed, but you can do so. Going down, you've obviously got your description, same sort of thing. You can also select the games that you play and it will appear on the side of the server, just again so people can get an idea of what your server's actually about. Going down into these settings, some of these you won't really be able to access because you may not have enough boosts and it's obviously a new server. For example, server tag is one of them, but as you can see it's basically a little thing that comes next to people's name and they'll be able to click on it. If they're not on your server and somebody decides to rock your server tag, everyone else will be able to see that server tag on that user's profile, click on it, and it will show them your server if they want to join, basically. Engagement is basically little things that happen. So for example, here you've got a random welcome message when someone joins. When someone joins, it will come into the channel and say, oh yeah, blah blah has joined the server, stuff like that. New members will be able to welcome with a sticker. These settings are really self-explanatory. It's really up to you if you want to set them. It's completely up to you. Personally, I turn them off. Just me personally. The only one you may keep is the welcome message, and set a welcome channel or maybe a new members channel or something like that if that's what you want to do. Activity feed, essentially whenever there's an activity it will appear at the top, essentially is what that is. This is the first big setting that I would personally change this to only at mentions, basically meaning that whenever there's a message sent in the server, if you have this to all message, then anyone that's in the server will get a notification, ding 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 ding, the second anyone taps a message. Whereas if you type it to at mentions, basically only if you get pinged in that server will you get a notification. So for example, if somebody typed my username right, like hi, then I'd get a notification for that, whereas if you don't have it on, then you'll get a notification for everyone. So I'd recommend doing that. Inactive channel is basically when someone's been in a voice chat for so long, they will get moved to this inactive channel. Just basically means so then people can't just be AFK in the normal voice chat, basically. The server widget most people aren't going to use, so I'm not going to go into. Boost perks is just for you to basically show the progress of your boost level. If you turn on the boost progress bar and save it, then what basically will happen is at the top here you'll see a little bar to show you your goal in terms of where you are in terms of boosting. Really up to you. As you can see on boost level 2 you'll get a server banner background which will show on the top of your server. You'll be able to change that there. And then your server invite background, basically when somebody gets an invite to your server it will be a background that displays. Emojis down here, these are custom emojis that you can add to your server. Basically you can add any emoji you like, just make sure it doesn't break Discord's TOS because they could potentially get deleted and or your server get banned for it, depending on the severity and or Discord trust and safety team. Stickers, self-explanatory again, you get 5 slots, you can upload them. Soundboard, again, same sort of thing, you can upload them, make sure it doesn't break Discord TOS because they will come at you for that. Members is basically just a members list. You can add roles here if you have any. It will tell you how people joined. It says unknown for me because I made the server. It will tell you when that user joined Discord, how long they've been a member of the server, and if you sign down you'll see a signals thing which tells you I've apparently been engaged in suspected spam activity. You can open mod view and you'll get more options for the user as well. As you get more members in the server, your list will obviously look a lot bigger than mine. You can sort here to see a lot of the users, and then there's also a prune option. Now what prune basically means is for people that haven't been active, it will basically kick them from the server for, as you see, more than 7 days or more than 30 days. Meaning if they're not active for at least the last 7 days or the last 30 days, it will just kick them from the server. Basically for servers that might potentially want a that might potentially want an active server. Now if you click on show members in the channel list, it will show you the members on the right hand side, which Discord doesn't do by default always. Roles over here will allow you to create different roles. Certain people might want to have an admin role, for example, a mod role, member role, stuff like that. Just be careful on what permissions you are assigning to certain roles, because certain roles with certain permissions, and if you give them to people, will be dangerous. For example, a lot of people just give their admin roles administrator permission, which basically means they'll be able to do a lot of things in your server and will be able to cause harm to your server and potentially destroy it. For an admin role, which might be your top staff member role or your top person with permission within the server, you might want to give them view channels, manage channels, manage roles. You might want to give them create and manage expressions or view audit log. It depends on how your server's set up and that sort of thing. I'll do another video deep diving into permissions, because permissions is a whole other ball game, to be honest, in terms of what people want, what people shouldn't do. The main permissions that I really wouldn't advise granting to anyone is administrator, as obviously I've gone over again. And then your other two are going to be mention everyone at here and roles, and then also managing webhooks. Those three permissions are your most dangerous permissions, so do be careful on who you're granting them permissions and make sure you've got a good reason for it, because of the danger they can cause to your server. Down here, role style, you can change the way roles look and give role icons. Again, these are locked to server boosting and they are behind some of the boost levels, so you wouldn't be able to do it really. But obviously you've got your names here, you've got your default colors over here, and you can change the color with the color wheel, or you've got a hex code here. I will leave a link to a hex code calculator if you don't know what or how that is, and if you click this one here, it will just put it back to default for you. Different settings here. Basically what this will do is it will display members separately. So if I save that and then give myself that role, I need to appear online quickly, then it will display it as a mod one rather than just being separately, if that makes sense. It's basically just what that does. And then you've also got the other setting, which is to allow anyone to mention this role, which will allow anyone to @mod, and anyone with that role will get a notification. Again, this is something I also wouldn't advise adding, just because of how dangerous it can be. I'm not going to add a link just because it's a bit of a different thing. If you go into here and click manage members, you'll see everyone with the role. If you have a lot of people in a certain role, you'll see everyone with that role. You can just press the X and press remove, and it will remove them from them. You can also right click and remove it, and it will remove it from that user. Again, I will make a specific video into roles and permissions, because it is a bit specific and it does get a bit nitty gritty if you don't really understand what to do. Invites down here, it's quite self-explanatory. Current invites to the server. Obviously, to invite someone, you can either press a server thing and press invite to server if you have permission, and or go to a channel, press the invite button, and it will come up. Now if you go to invites, you'll see your current invites, and if you want to revoke the invite, you just go on it and press the X, and that will be done. That invite won't be able to be used after you press the X. It will cease to exist basically. You can also, as you see, create an invite from here also, or you can pause invites, and as you see, pause DMs and or invites, and you can specify the time period. Say there's been a raid and you want invites to stop, then you can do that too. Down here you've got access, which is access to your server. Obviously it is invite only by default. You can change it to have an application form, and then you have to approve everyone coming into your server. Depending on what sort of server, depending on what sort of community you've got, is really going to depend on how you allow people access to your server. You can mark your server as age restricted if it is age restricted, or you want it to be because of certain content you've got in the server. It's really up to you. And then you can turn on server rules, which you can add a rule, you know, please don't be toxic, or, you know, whatever. And then click save, and then that will come up when people do join the server. Going down to integrations, stuff like webhooks, which I mentioned earlier, they are here because they are very powerful things, and if you know what to do with them and how to do them, they're amazing tools. If you don't know how to use them, I wouldn't bother doing it. Now you might see integrations and webhooks here if you have bots like Dino, Carl, Me6, because they are generally, their logs will be done via webhooks. Don't really worry if it's stuff like that. If it's a random webhook that's been created for whatever reason, might want to delete it just for security reasons, but that's completely up to you. Channels followed, basically if your server's part of a community, then you can challenge, you can follow certain channels in your server basically. And then apps, you can add apps to the server this way. Most people won't do it this way, and they'll just do it via the bot's dashboard, because that is generally the easier way to do it for most people. Down here I will show you safety setup. Safety setup is basically what it sounds like. Top here you got verification level. Basically, what verification level do you want members joining your server to have? You've got none, which means anyone can come in whether their account is verified and has a verified phone number, or regardless. If it's a new account, doesn't matter, then come in. You've got low, self-explanatory, they must have a verified email. Medium, again self-explanatory, they must have been registered on Discord for more than 5 minutes. High, they must be registered for more than 10 minutes. And highest, users must have a verified phone on their Discord and registered for more than 10 minutes and a verified email. Basically, you can change what kind of member comes into your server, because if you put it on none, you might get a lot of bots, you might get a lot of toxic people who potentially are there to cause you harm. If you have it on highest, you should kind of protect yourself from that, because people are going to have to go through the trouble of waiting 10 minutes after making an account, verifying their email and verifying their phone. You can obviously still cause harm even though users have done all these things, but it's just a thing there for you to be able to kind of protect your server, if that makes sense. Next one down is required 2FA for moderator actions, meaning that anyone with permissions to kick, ban, delete messages, stuff like that, they will have to have two-factor authentication enabled on their account, otherwise they will not be able to take any moderation actions whatsoever against any member. So do keep that in mind. Personally, for servers that I have managed in the past, I do always normally turn this on just for safety and precautionary reasons. Some people have got a bit annoyed at it, but I mean, turning 2FA on nowadays, you know, security wise, it's just something that you should do. And even if they can't do it through their phone number for whatever reason, they can or can't do that, you've always got the option of using an app like Microsoft Authenticator or Authy or whatnot. But it's really not hard, to be honest. Sensitive content filters, basically Discord will, if you have this on to scan, basically Discord will scan any media that comes into the server, basically to make sure it's not like anything nudity or anything obscene or anything like that. And what will happen is, if you have this on filter and it is, say, anything obscene and or nudity or along those sorts of lines of content, Discord just won't let them send it, and they'll try and send it, and Discord will give them a message saying like, oh yeah, this server's been filtered, you can't send it. Whereas if you have it do not filter, they'll be able to send in anything. Really just depends again on the type of server that you're running and what sort of content you want in the server. It's kind of up to you, and everyone's gonna have a different stance on this. Activity alerts, basically whenever there's something kind of bad and or like a raid or anything like that happening, it will basically send a little alert, say, hey, you know, unusual amount of joins detected, etc, etc, to let you know something might be going on. And obviously you click on here and you'll be able to change which channel you're set to. Next one down, audit log. Audit log will basically show you logs for any action made in the server by any user. This won't log stuff like if you send a regular message. This won't be that kind of log. This is more of, let's say, a moderation log. Anyone with permissions that does anything will come up in here. So for example, as you go down, made changes to the server, created an invite, made changes to the boost progress bar, created roles, updated roles, etc. like that. Channels, roles, banning, kicking, timing out. Basically 90% of actions you take in a server will be logged here, and you can filter them specifically to, for example, update server, update channel, delete channel, loads of different things you filter them to, and you can filter them to specific users as well. So it really depends on what specifically you want to look at. Or you've obviously got it by default where it will just show you everything most recent to oldest. Kind of just depends. Bans is self-explanatory. People that are banned from the server, you can come in here, you can search them by their user ID or their username, and it will come up here. And or if anyone's banned, it will just display them in this box here. You'll be able to click on them, see the reason for the ban, and or revoke it or close the pop-up. It's really up to you. This one here, auto mod, again quite self-explanatory, but for each section here you can press setup and then it will come up with the rule. You can change the name if you'd like and configure the settings to it. So for example, block mention spam basically means that when somebody @s a user, so for example if I @ you and say hi, for example, this is set up by default to 20, so when I ping more than 20 unique mentions per in one message, if I go above it, you can decide what to do down here, and it says that choose your response. You can either block the message where Discord will basically tell them you can't send it. It will send an alert potentially to your alert channel that we spoke about earlier, and it can also time them out. And then it says allow certain roles or channels. So for example, if you want your mods, admins, any of your staff, quote unquote, kind of roles to be able to do this and not get affected by auto mod, then you'd put your roles and or channels if you wanted channels to be exempt from this, just to make sure those users that you don't want to get in trouble won't get in trouble from it. And down here, this is your sensitive content filter again, but we've gone down over it. Enable community gives a few extra settings and changes. I'll leave this for now. If you need to see a bit more explanation on this, I can go into this in a different video if you'd like. And server templates, basically once you get your server to how you want it to be, once you get it to a point of, you know, where you're happy with it, then you can make a template of it basically. You can name your template whatever you like, put a description, press create, that will give you a link, and then whenever you make changes to your server, for example if I make a channel now, it will say my server template's out of sync, because now I've made a change since that template. And all you need to do is come back to template, press sync, and then that will now sync it with the current aspect of the server. And if I go delete the channel, same thing will happen. It will say it's out of sync because I've made changes since having the template. Just press sync again. If I want this template to be deleted because I don't want it anymore, you just press delete. That won't delete anything in your server itself, it will just delete the template and we'll make sure that people can't use that copy. And then down the bottom is obviously. So what I'm going to go through very quickly is just a bit of channels and or permissions and tips that I would go through and do. It's really up to you. Me personally, I'm a bit of an OCD freak, so I will normally make category like information. I normally have that at the top. I normally delete all of this shit because I just don't like these general shit. And then I might make something like general or bots, just for example, depends on your server. You might have a news channel in here. And then what you might want to do is you might want to make it so nobody can type in the channel because you only want it to be your staff. And then what you might do is you might give your admin permission to type in the channel because you want them to be able to type in their channel but not any random member. Really depends. Or for example, you might not want your members to be able to put links or files in your general channels, but you might want them to do it in your bot channel. So you would just come back in, either leave it on 0 or you would grant it to them. depending on how your server's set up and depending on how it is, you might want to add an emoji or a divider to your channel, something like this, to make it look, you know, a bit more professional and a bit more cleaner. I will leave that little line in the description for you if you want to use it. Really depends on that. I'm not going to dive too deep into it because I'm sure there's many videos out there on how to set up specific channels, how to set up specific things. If you do want to see any of that, then I'll gladly go into it, and like I said, I will do a permissions and roles video because I think that deserves its own specific kind of video. Hopefully haven't rambled too long. Hopefully I haven't gone into too many things to make this video too long. I know we've been going on for about 20 odd minutes now, but I think we've explained the basics. I think we've gone over everything. Hopefully you guys have left now with a bit more information on how to make a Discord server that you potentially didn't when you started off with. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you know something new. If you have any questions, queries, comments, leave them down in the comment section. I'll come back to you as soon as I can reply. And if there's anything I didn't go over that you want me to, leave a comment. I will have a look. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and please make sure you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Peace.